Hey everybody, how are you? This is Adrienne Charleston, and I am here with another episode of Him How I Met. In this episode, we'll be talking about Chamber 7, Shawn T. Singletary. He is an actor, spoken word artist, engineer, videographer. He does so many things. Um, he's been in movies with Daniel Radcliffe. He's played a serial killer, spoken word artist on the East and West Coast. Around, all around amazing person, master of many things. Um, so views in this video are mine and mine alone. They may or may not be how the person that I talk about remembers how we met, but this is how I met Chamber 7. So I call him Chamber 7. His real name is Shawn T. Singletary. Um, and I met him as Chamber 7. I want to say it had to be 2015. Yeah, I had just released my first book of poetry, and that's when I started doing poetry around town, around in North Carolina, different places, and that was my first start of poetry. And I first met him at a poetry show. It was very brief. We were on the lineup together, so I think we just met and said hello. I really don't remember that encounter, but I know we met because there's pictures of us in a big old group together, and I was like, oh, when did that so I met him then. I think I don't remember. Um, then there was another time I was at a poetry event. Had one of my girlfriends with me, who does not do poetry, and we were together. And if y'all know about poetry, sometimes the poet will choose a muse in the audience. I've been that muse before, and I was like, so it's a very exciting thing and something that they do. So we were watching Chamber 7 on stage, and he chose my friend as his muse, the person he, spit poetry to for that night, and directed the poems to her. Um, so I didn't really talk to him that night because I still kind of didn't know him. So couple days later, I'm sorry, y'all, I love my earrings, so I'm just playing with them. A couple days later, I get an inbox from Chamber 7. I was like, oh, because if y'all don't know, you'll see after this in the interview phase, he's a cutie pie. And I was like, okay, he in my inbox, okay. And he started real nice, like, hey, how are you? I remember you from doing poetry, blah, blah. Then he hit me with the, so your friend. I was like, damn it, story of my life, y'all. Story of my life. But your friend though. I'm like, man. Uh so I had hit her up while he was hitting me up to see if I could pass on her information and all that. So she said yes, and I passed on their information. Um, they didn't work out. This is long story, very short. It didn't work out between them. Um, so yeah, that was all that I talked to him. And then a little bit further down the road, we started trying to do a group together. We're gonna have two women, two men, and we're gonna do a poetry group. That ended up not working out. But during our first meeting, because I didn't know him that well, so during our first meeting, I got to hear from him and get to know him a little bit better. And then after the meeting, I was like, "Yo, let's talk." So we went to Smoothie King, and that's where our friendship began. We've been friends. We've been closer friends. We've learned so much about each other. We talk at least once a week. He is also one of the other men that I've dedicated one of my books to. Um, and it's been a great, amazing ride just to be able to have someone that is a genuine friend and that is genuinely there for you. Um, is not looking for something from you, if that makes sense. Uh, there was a whole other incident with him, but we won't even talk about that. Um, Not with me. Um, but yes, he is a great, wonderful person. I'm glad to call him my friend. And I'm trying to think, did I miss anything? No, that's pretty simple, straightforward story. Um, and and I'm trying to think, do I want to, because there was something that happened while he was getting to know my friend. I'm not gonna say dating. I don't know what they were doing. Um, and some other stuff with some other people, and it ended up being some mess. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to him about that meeting, just to clear the air and figure out some things, because I am a straightforward person. If I find out something, if I find out something about you, I'm gonna go to you. I'm not gonna ask this person, that's person that. I'm gonna say, hey, what's up with that? And then we'll talk about it or not, clearly up to you. So and that's how we just got to talking, and that was it. And like I said, we talk at least once a week now since then. Sorry. We've been friends. Um, and he's a great friend. So that is how I met Chamber 7, Shawn T. Singletary. Stay tuned for the interview. Thank you. Thank y'all for watching. Hey, everybody. Thank you for staying tuned to that episode of Him. And guess what? We have an interview. We have an interview with the one and only Shawn T. Singletary, also known as Chamber 7. Hey,
What's up? What's going on? How you doing?
Shawn. I am good. How are you?
I am doing amazing. It is a beautiful day today, so I'm excited.
Okay. That's a great thing. Excitement is always wonderful. And you know me, I'm always overly excited. So
Hmm.
pretty much about life. Like
Yes, in
yeah.
general. I know it. Yeah, just in general.
Yes. So thank you for agreeing to allow me to interview you.
Certainly. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
No, thank you. Okay, we're not gonna do this because we'll keep going back and forth. We're
Yeah,
not.
we will. We will. All day. We do that the whole time.
Yes. No, you're the best. No,
No,
you're the
you're
best.
the best. For
Right.
real.
So first I guess I should have just turned my phone down because apparently people want to message
Oh,
me. All
wait,
right.
yeah. Now that you say that. Because look, as soon as you say that, I'm gonna be like, somebody gonna message me like halfway through. I'm gonna be like, nah, bro, I'm busy right now. Cool. Here we go.
Right, right. So
Right.
first question I have for you. Why did you join the military?
Okay, so the story actually goes back to when I was in junior high school. For those who are from the Middleburg area, Middleburg, Florida, which is actually literally named Middleburg because it's in between Jacksonville and Orange Park in the middle. Long story short, um, I was making the transition from, I want to say, elementary to back in the day when they had junior high schools,
Mhm.
and I had signed up for computer classes. Well, both my parents are prior military. Both my parents are in the Air Force. As a matter of fact, the job that my dad has to this day is based on his time in the Air Force. So they saw it as a unique opportunity for me. They recognized what kind of young man I was, smart, but at the time I just didn't have the type of discipline. So one day I got a phone call like in the middle of the summer, like you need to come up to the school, and I'm like, for what? And they were like, well, we have some issues with your electives. What turns out, my parents switched all my electives from the computer class to JROTC, and I was like, what? So when I went on to high school, I started in the NJROTC program at Middleburg High School, and I actually enjoyed it. It was a bunch of roughneck, hardcore individuals from guys who wanted to join the SEAL team, guys who wanted to be in the Marines, and I just liked the camaraderie of the group. So I joined the JROTC program, and then as I got closer to the end of time, my end of school time, I was on the rifle team, which is not the same as the drill team. It was the rifle team where we actually shot the guns. And my master chief at the time, who was running that particular program, wasn't a guy who talked very much, but he asked everybody like, "What are your plans when you graduate?" And he got to me and he was like, "Singletary, what are you about to do?" And I was like, "I don't know. I was thinking about going to school." And he literally just said, "Well, you should look into Savannah State." And that was all he said. So I came home. I told my mom, and we started this mad dash looking into the to Savannah State. And sure enough, like she went and applied for all the stuff, but it turned out I was like a couple weeks too late, and they only had like
Mm.
5 slots available to get a scholarship for ROTC. And they literally told me, they said, "Man, we really wish you had applied sooner because your record is stellar. We'd have definitely had you in for a scholarship." So they said, "What we can do, however, is we'll put you in as an alternate." So they put me in as an alternate, and sure enough, one person dropped out, and I ended up with a scholarship to the NROTC program at Savannah State University, and that's what ended up. I finished my time there with a mechanical engineering degree, and I was commissioned as a United States Naval officer the day I graduated from college.
Wow. I don't think I knew any of that.
Yeah, yeah. Few people know about that. Like it was a roller coaster ride because like when I applied for the program, like they said, well, I think at the time I had to have my wisdom teeth taken out, and my mother just went on this. All right, well, let's go. So everything that they told me I didn't have done, she made sure I had it done. So I had like all my wisdom teeth pulled out. I think I had
Mm.
like 4 or 5 of them at the time. She had them all yanked like 2 days before like the application was supposed to be finished. Like so, it was. She was like, "All right, that's done. Now what?" So I think that tenacious, resilient grittiness of my mother kind of just, spilled over into me because I don't let go of anything. So,
And where's your mom from? Just want to throw that out there.
oh, Barbados, hey, from Barbados, right there, right there. Everybody asks me about that. They're like, "What's the chance?" Like, that's the Humboldt Island of Barbados, right there. So yeah, my mother's
Yes.
from Barbados. All my family's from Barbados except for like me and my cousins. Like I was the first one in my family that was born in the United States. So,
Wow. So that says a lot because with her tenaciousness
oh
and
yeah.
all of that. So
Hmm.
and I will share something about me. I don't know how many people know. It might be a few people. I was in ROTC as well.
Yep.
I was on the drill team,
Okay.
but we carried real weapons on our drill team. We used to get extra points because we carried the real weapons and they're heavier than the fake weapons. And we would
Yes.
drill, yeah, we would drill with the real weapons. And on Memorial Day, we would
Yeah.
go to the VA. So a few people would go to the VA. Some people would
Okay.
fire. It would be me and my girlfriend would normally carry like the flag and stuff and then do a service for the VA.
Right.
This is in high school.
Wow. Wow. And were y'all carrying the M1s? You remember?
We I think so. It was the same
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Whatever I had when I went to the military, we had the same weapons.
Yep.
So when I joined the military, I used the same weapon and I
Yep.
could handle it so well. And being like 90 pounds, they were like, "What's up with that?" And
I'd
I'm
be
like,
like,
"Oh,
bro,
we carried
I used
these."
to twirl. We used to twirl these in high school. Y'all a bunch of suckers.
Right. And we would literally win, not just because we had extra points. We would have dope routines,
Right.
but we would get the extra points because of the weight of our weapons. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Show them how it's done. Show them how it's done, son.
yes. So
Mhm.
yes, ROTC. I had a great time at ROTC.
Loved
Yeah,
it. Good
and the
time.
military.
Oh yeah.
So names. So next question is, how did you get the name Chamber 7?
Okay, yeah, and this is a common question, so I almost got it condensed down a little bit now. It's a common question I get all the time. As a matter of fact, not too long ago, I wore a T-shirt that says it's a chamber thing you wouldn't understand, and everybody's like, "Who's chamber?" And I'd be like, "Here we go." So, all right. So the full story. When I was born, I was named Eric for like 3 days, but my mother never really settled on that name. Yeah, I was Eric for a little while, and she was like, "That doesn't feel right." So I think at the time, and she always tells me that she had a very easy pregnancy with me. I was 2 weeks late, but she said I had an easy
Hmm.
pregnancy. She had an easy pregnancy giving birth to me. So she said, but while she was like in the middle of her contractions, she was watching a movie, and it just so happened, I don't remember which one it was, but she said she was watching. a James Bond film, and at the time, the James Bond that she saw was the one with Sean Connery. So she fell in love with Sean Connery, and she said, "You know what? I think I'm going to name my son Sean." So oddly enough, I
I
was
just want to say who wouldn't fall in love with Sean Connery? But
right.
continue.
Yeah, exactly. Smooth brother. Yeah. So and I'll tell you more about that in a second. Um, so she said she changed my name to Sean. Uh, and then as time went on, I told that same story to some friends of mine in college. And this was like I think this was my freshman sophomore year in college. Yep, because I was in the other dorm. So it was my no, I take yeah, it was my sophomore year in college. And I think right around that time, Wu-Tang Clan came out with the 36 Chambers. So naturally, all the fellas being together, we all assigned ourselves a chamber. We had Chamber 5 was the Chamber of Echoes. We had Chamber 4, who was the Chamber of Lost Souls. Everybody had their own assigned designated chamber. So I naturally took on the name Chamber 7. I was Chamber 7, Chamber of Secrets is what they used to call me because being the spy type, right? Right, exactly. I know. So as I went into spoken word, like poetry became a savior for me. And I just remember feeling like that first time I stepped on stage, I felt at home.
Mm,
And for anybody that has done any numerology or studied it, the number 7 is always representative of the number of completion. In the Bible, it's always said that it was on the seventh day God rested.
mm.
So for me, I've always attributed it to Chamber 7 is like it's the more feeling side of me, if you will. The Sean Singletary is like the mechanical engineering logical side of me, and the Chamber 7 is the other hemisphere of me where it's the feeling side of me, so to speak. So Chamber 7 is representative of I feel the most complete when I'm performing in that focus in that realm of thought. If you know, and then there are a couple of other things that kind of lead into it. My birthday was originally supposed because like I said, I was 2 weeks late. So my original birthday was supposed to be July the 4th, but I ended up showing up July the 21st, 1976. Well, 721, 21 is a multiple of 7, and it just seemed to make sense. And I think my mother said I was born sometime around 7 p.m. that day. So like the number 7 ended up having a greater significance to me over time. So that's where Chamber 7 came from, and it just kind of stuck. And I've tried to change the name a couple of times. I was like, maybe I should change it to something else, but it just never worked out. When I moved to the West Coast, I shortened it and I became C7. And oddly enough, I ended up performing for this one place, and a guy comes to me afterwards, and he was like, "Hey, does your stage name have any significance with like anything medical?" And I said, "Well, no, not initially." And he said, "Well, the C7 vertebrae in the back of your neck is one of the most important because it's at the base of your spine." And I was like, "So it was like, all right, I guess this is my name." So people on the West Coast know me as C7, but people on the East Coast, some people don't even know my real name. They just know me by Chamber, or they call me Seven. So, much respect to all them. So,
Yeah. And I know your real name, and I still call you Chamber most of the time.
right,
Every now and then
right.
I'll call you Sean.
And I
But
and I and I never have a problem with it either. It's never been an issue to me. It's fine with me. I've been called much worse on purpose, so it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So,
yes, and before we started this, you told me a fact about your name, so I had to change your name on the scroll. Tell us that story. So I put Sean Singletary because that's
right,
your name.
right.
So more name stuff.
All right. So I've always preferred to have my full name because as an actor, like I don't want to get lost in the shuffle. So there are a lot of actors that have names that are similar to other people. So for a long time, it was just Sean Singletary. On my IMDb, it's just Sean Singletary. But one time, somebody was trying to reach me, and I have a fairly decent following for, and somebody who I wouldn't consider a major celebrity, if you will. And somebody was trying to reach me, and they ended up inadvertently reaching another lady whose name was Shawn Singletary, spelled exactly the same way. But she came at me as if I was an imposter trying to take over her name. And I was like, I ain't trying to be you, lady. So, like, even at work, I make it a point to put the T in there because I'm really proud of my middle name too. So and I have no problems with it. I'm a child of the '70s,
I'm
so
just
my middle name
saying.
is right. So
I
my
don't
middle
know.
name is.
Wait, no,
Don't tell them. No.
no, you can tell. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. So so a lot of people are like, well, so what's the big deal about the T? And I'd be like, well, it separates me. It's one more division that separates me from everybody else because I'm an individual. So I'm
Hmm.
Shawn T. Singletary, and I always tell people to make sure you keep the T in there. And they're like, well, what does it stand for? I said it stands for Tyrone. The next inadvertent thing that I get is somebody starts singing Erica
You
Badu
better call
every
Tyrone.
time.
Call
Yeah, I was waiting for that. All right, so here's the best part though, and I don't think people realize it until I mention it. I go, you realize Tyrone is like the hero in the story, right? Because every time people think of the song, they automatically think Tyrone is the bad guy. And I said, are you
no.
listening to the lyrics? Tyrone's the one that has to pick up the dude who's the bad guy. So that's
Yep.
so I don't mind. I'm a child of the '70s. Tyrone is my middle name, whatever. So
And I will say now that you say that he was because I've had a Tyrone in my past, but his name I'm not gonna tell you his real name. But when things went south with me and my child's father, I called Tyrone and was
Tyrone,
like, "Come get this Joker because
is he on my nerves? You need to come get him. He getting on my
this is
nerves.
it.
Come
Help
get the
him,
boy. Come get
help
him.
him pack
Help him.
because this is it." So yes, I agree with you, Tyrone,
Mhm.
because Tyrone gonna come help you get this fool up out the house.
Tyrone's that dude that got to come to the house and be like, yo, bro, just, you know what I'm saying? That's where
Yes.
they go. And then he's saying that to his homeboy. And then he going to be like, look, girl, I'm sorry. I really apologize. I'm going to get him out of
No.
here. Yeah.
When I
Right.
called that Tyrone, he showed up with somebody else and woke him up and was like, "Yo," she said, "You got to go," and they helped him pack. Like that was I never thought of it that way. I
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times, a lot of my friends will call me and be like, bro, I just need you. All right. I'll be there in a minute. Oh, here we go.
I
So, yeah,
so
been
you're
there.
that Tyrone.
I'm
You gonna
that
get called?
Tyrone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That time I always pride myself on trying to be the friend that you can call at 2 o'clock in the morning if it's a real emergency. Now, and that's
Right.
the issue I usually have is some people don't know when to pull the fire alarm. I'm not the guy you call when you might have a problem. I'm
Right.
the guy you call when you know for a fact you got a problem.
Right. And no, 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 no. Not when you have a problem. When you have a problem and you want it solved.
Facts. Yes.
Don't
That's
don't
that's
call
that's when you
this
call me. Right.
Tyrone with a
Right.
problem. And as you putting your shoes on, be like, "Oh no, 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 no! I didn't want you to." It's too late.
It's too late. You put when you pull this trigger, don't pull the trigger because I'm not gonna lie to you. I've had friends do that. They pull the trigger too soon. They call me and I show up and they be like, "Nah, I changed my mind." Nah, bro. Either we doing this or we ain't. Like, what we doing?
Right. Oh, I've
So
seen you in action. You be ready. You be
yeah,
ready to ride.
I don't play. Let's rock and roll. I don't do
You
that.
you
Oh, no.
you've called me on a Facebook post or two and be like, "Yo, I need to pull up." I'd be like, "No, no,
Like,
I
no, no,
got
no.
enough problems."
We good. You sure?
Nobody
Sure?
wants
Because
that smoke.
I'm ready. Because I got time today. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I
right.
did my research. I'm ready to rock and roll. Yes, ma'am. Ready to go.
So so speaking of time,
All right.
so you mentioned we talked about you being in the military.
Yep.
We talked about you being a spoken word artist.
Hmm.
We talked about you being an actor.
Yep.
And I don't even think that's all that you do.
Nah.
But the question that I have for you is how do you maneuver all of the things that you do because you do so many things and I don't like the question like who are you because who
Yeah.
you are is not all in what you do.
Yes.
So I know you do a lot of things.
Hmm.
So one, can you go through some of the things you can remember
Hmm.
that you do or have done and then how do you maneuver all of these things?
Oh man. To be honest with you, like I, I've long been the type of person that just likes to. I don't want to say like purposely breaks traditionalism, but I just don't adhere to this pathway of I'm supposed to like go to school for one particular thing, go to work in that one particular thing, and then stay in that one particular thing, even if I hate it or despise it, and don't do anything else but that, and then retire from it after 30 years and then just like sit at home and do nothing. I don't like that. Like, I want my life to be expansive and full of experiences. And if I just feel like trying it, I just want to try it. Just to give you an example, like there was one time I was an aerospace product manufacturing engineer for Honeywell Aerospace, which is awesome. Love that company. They taught me a lot about like problem solving and that kind of thing. And I wanted, and they had a regular golf session, and they said, "Well, you want to?" And somebody was joking with me and was like, "Well, you want to play golf?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I went to the local like pawn shop, bought a set of clubs for like $50. I
Hmm.
went on the and I went to the local club, and then my drive wasn't that great, so I went to the driving range just to practice. And then there just happens to be this other older white gentleman. I specifically remember pulling into the parking lot, and they had assigned parking spaces, and I accidentally parked in one of them, so I backed out and I parked in another space. Then I went to the driving range. I saw this older white gentleman that was there. He was kind of observing me. He said, "Do you mind if I give you some pointers?" I said, "Sure." There was another white gentleman that was there, and he was watching us, and he had his eyes like this, right? And I was like, "That's weird." So the older white gentleman was like showing me some pointers, and he was like, "That good?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I really appreciate you taking time." He said, "Hey, you have a good day." He walked off, right? So then the other guy that was watching us like walks up, and he was like, "Yo, do you know who that was?" And I was like, "Nah." And he was like, "You know, like those parking spaces that are out front?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, he owns one of those because he's a professional golfer." And I was like, "So I just got tips from a professional golfer?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What?" But like that's the kind of mindset that I have. So like I've played golf. I've been a DJ. And when I say been, I mean I still do it on occasion when I get the chance. I was a DJ. I did karaoke. I did um, engineering. I've been a process engineer. I've been a project manager. I've been an actor, model. I've done plenty of spoken word poetry. I've released a couple albums. I was an assistant director on a couple of award-winning short films. I'm working on a project right now where I might be doing some stunt coordination. Either myself or one of my friends are going to work together on that. Like I just go do stuff, and I just don't believe that you should ever like adhere to this one thing in your life. Like if you want to go try it, go try it. And if you fail at it, all right, that's one less thing you need to try again. What's the big deal? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I still like to play golf. I'm not awesome at it, but I still got the clubs in the oh, and I love playing with old cars. I just started uh buying older cars to see if I can start fixing them up a little bit. So I love repairing old stuff. I started building Bluetooth speakers. So little hobbies like that. I like repairing old furniture. I got a bunch of tools. As a matter of fact, I just recently signed on to be a contractor for a company called Home Advisor. So if you need,
Hmm.
I started. It's a little small business where I basically contract myself out. They send me leads, and then I go out to people's houses and I fix the stuff that they have around there. So I just recently did that. Like that's like as of like yesterday, and I got my approval yesterday. So I'm super proud of that. I've been a spoken word artist for a long time, which kind of rolled me into being a radio show host. I did that for Blog Talk Radio for like 2 years. Um,
I'm gonna stop you right quick because when you said home advisor, so now people are gonna see this and they're gonna be looking to find Shawn T. Singletary to come to
uh,
their house.
it's Singletary Select Services. That's what it's called. Hmm.
Come to their house and fix stuff.
And fix stuff. That's what I do. I fix stuff. That's all I do. I just fix stuff. So if you're in the greater Atlanta area and you need some stuff fixed, just give me a holler. I'll swing by and fix stuff. I ain't messing with you. I ain't messing with you. So yeah,
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
I just,
But continue. You were
but yeah,
talking about how you are a spoken word artist and you are an actor. I
absolutely.
just gotta make sure I say that you are.
Oh yeah, no, I still do all that stuff. I haven't naturally with coronavirus and everything. I haven't really been able to get involved with a whole lot of stuff. However, I got a small clique of friends that we still do work. I'm my one of the next things I want to get involved in is voiceover work and start once I get like situated into some other stuff. So I'm looking for a better space.
Mm,
I had to get some things in my personal life set up. So this is to go on to answer your question as to how I do all these things. You have to have not only the mindset and resilience, but the willingness to fail. And you also need to set up a very basic foundation of how you handle things. And when I say that, I think a lot of people plan for the best, but never consider the worst. So I map out like, okay, if this goes well, what can I expect out of it? But if it doesn't go well, what am I willing to sacrifice? And if I'm not willing to sacrifice a whole lot for it, I just won't try it. It's no big deal. So, like with the home advisor thing, you still got to sacrifice a little bit because you got to pay them to some extent for some of your leads. Now, in the long run, I say to myself, at least I can build a clientele. Plus, I'm gaining the experience, and I like the fact that I can kind of gauge what my schedule looks like because, as you can tell, I'm always doing a lot of stuff. So it's a huge part of also time management. You got to make sure that you got your things aligned. Um, the calendar on my phone blows up on a regular basis. I keep a whiteboard sitting next to me. As a matter of fact, right now I got a whiteboard where I have a bunch of stuff on it listed. Can't see that, but there it is. Where I've got a bunch of stuff on it listed as to far as like what I have to do. I do video editing projects for a lot of people. Oh shucks, I forgot about that. So I also do a lot of video editing. I've also done some film where I'm the cameraman for a lot of projects. So just anything that I want to try, I just like jumped in and got involved in. I've even done some video work for everything from a graduate school asked me to do some video editing work for them. I did that for them. As a matter of fact, it's up on their website now. And I've even done some video for guys who like do a lot of driving and stuff because I like to go to different car shows and stuff like that. So
mm,
and I just chop and cut stuff together, and it comes out really nice. And to the point where even at my current job, I mentioned video editing, and they were like, "Oh, so you do that?" I was like, "Yeah, I do that." So they now a lot of our instructions, I video them and then I edit them myself, so that way when you get new people in, it's a better way for them to see it. So
right.
that's what I try to do, a little bit of everything. So
Okay. And what about life coaching? You didn't say that, did you?
I ain't even, you know what, I left that off, but like I said, I just kind of go with the flow as far as the stuff that I do. If I'm capable of doing it, I do it. I have been doing a lot of life coaching. As a matter of fact, things have been picking up. I just spoke to somebody earlier today, just keeping them encouraged. A lot of this is just a PSA for me. A lot of these teachers are going through a very difficult time. If you got a friend who's a teacher or an educator in any way, shape, form, or fashion, please, for the love of God, would you reach out to them and check on them because they are not doing well.
Mm-mm.
Because especially with the way the government is handling things, and they are putting a lot of people in uh, in jeopardy with regard to the way they are handling the pandemic and so on. It's a very
Mhm.
dangerous situation. So please look out for your teachers and your educators up and down the chain, no matter who they are. So
Yeah, yeah.
something to think about.
Yes, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Um, so your next question is, if you had the chance to change anything, would you do anything different?
Mm, that's always a difficult question. All right, so I don't know if some people probably already know what this. You probably heard of this. What the butterfly effect is, the
Yes.
or the chaos theory is also known as.
Uh-huh.
Um, that and for those who might be watching who don't know, uh, the chaos theory is the ideology that a butterfly that flaps its wings on one side of the world has the potential of causing a tsunami on the other side of the world because of the string of events that occur. So when I'm asked that question, the first thought that comes to mind is, well, yeah, based on the end product that I've gotten up to this point, there are some things I kind of wish I could change. But the fear that I have is by changing that one piece, what else does it also inadvertently affect? So naturally, there are people that I wish I never met. There are some people I didn't spend so much time with or that I wasted so much time connecting with. There are directions in my life I wish I wouldn't have taken or jobs I wouldn't have done. But at the same token, I also understand that without those things, it wouldn't have created the version of me that I see now that I've evolved to. So,
Mhm.
uh, to be honest with you, the only thing I realistic believe I would have changed was I honestly wish I would have believed more in myself to have pursued certain endeavors sooner, to include not succumbing to the idea that because I'm a nerd that I shouldn't like pursue athletic endeavors as much. I've
Mhm.
been a part of martial arts now for a better part of maybe on again, off again, probably like 6 or 7 years or so.
Mhm.
I became a level 2 in Krav Maga. I trained heavily in Muay Thai. I had my first fight at the age of like 40 something years old. So, and I still to this day like train in weightlifting and done a lot of running. And every time I get in the gym, I feel a little aches and pains, but I always say to myself, man, I wish I had started doing this when I was like 15 just to see what I'm capable of doing. Like I'm pretty decent now. I still could I would easily pit this version of me against my 18-year-old version of me and still believe that this version of me would win.
Mhm.
But at the same token, I'm like, if that's the case, how much better would I have been had I done this sooner? So of
Right.
all the things, I think that the only answer to that I would say is I really wish I pushed myself physically and mentally more than I did, and not allowed insecurities to hold me back so much.
Mm.
Pretty much. And then the people that I met, I might not have met anyway. So I'd have had a different mindset anyhow. So
Yes. Yes.
that's the only thing.
Okay. Cool. Last question. Last question.
All right.
What is Chamber 7, Shawn T, Singletary, Tyrone, all of that? What are you up to now?
Oh man. Um, So just a tidbit. Uh, I am working on. I've had a couple of really dope ideas that I'm trying to fan out right now. What I really want to get involved in is some more residual income projects. And so, like I mentioned before, I started working on Bluetooth stereos
Mm,
and little small Bluetooth speakers and stuff like that. And I kind of stopped for a little bit because I wanted to concentrate more heavily on my 9 to 5 job, which by the way, I thoroughly enjoy my 9 to 5 job right now. Um, but it's a means to an end, so to speak. So like I want to get more involved there. So I've kind of put some projects to the side, but I'm working more with some of my entertainment friends to work behind the scenes, whether either as an assistant director or as a grip or whatever I can do, as just as long as I'm still a part of the film community.
mhm,
I still want to do some more modeling. So what I've done is I've stood back and I've started this training program for my physical anyway, so that I can kind of get my body a certain way, because I kind of want to get more into like fitness modeling, so to
mm,
speak, because I recognize that even though I might not have this like physique that looks like I spend 98% of my time in the gym, I still have a fairly decent physique, especially for my age. So I kind of want to use that as a way to say, encourage other people to keep doing it. So I'd like to start doing some more of that. I've started to build kind of a following with regard to some of the videos that I've been doing in the morning. So I've
mhm,
been doing these things called More of the Opinion You Didn't Ask For by Chamber 7. So I'm thinking about starting up another podcast here pretty soon. I've been in talks with some of my friends about that. So we're going to start that up here pretty soon. I've also started doing something like I've been flipping cars. So I purchased a vehicle not too long ago that I just cleaned out today, and I'm looking at cleaning it up and seeing what I want to do with it. I'm finding the urge to keep it, but you know, and then there's a couple other projects that I want to work on with regard to like car projects. I still have my 1967 Mustang. I got to go pick her up and get that one repaired. My Nissan Maxima still works like a dream. She's got 432,000 miles on her to this day. I just picked up another car and I'm looking at another one now. So I got to figure out what I want to do with those. And what I would really like to do, and this is another side project I'm considering now that I've got the home advisor thing, is that as I repair this car, I'd kind of like to make video series for people who aren't really adept at cars. I think we make a lot of videos specifically to the people who are all into it. But what about the people who have no clue what that stuff is? Like, I don't know where to change the oil at. So maybe you've got a young father who's brand new to his household, and he's still trying to figure out how to do certain things for his family. Well, I want to be able to help him out and maybe start a program kind of like that. So not necessarily like for teenagers, but for like young adults, like a lot of these 22, 23-year olds that think they know everything. For the 4 or 5 of them that actually legit need some help and want to ask some questions, I want to be able to help them out with that. So that's just a short list of some of the things that I want to do and that I'm doing right now. So
short list. Oh,
short list that continues to grow. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
and I'm also finishing up a video series of some of my old poetry, especially with coronavirus and everything right now. I've been funneling people back to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna
Mm,
start releasing some of the unreleased works that I've had. I've got like 700 poems that I just never put out to the world. Never been on an album. I've done 4 or 5 albums, and now with the coronavirus out there, I seriously doubt I'll be doing any features or doing a whole lot of traveling. So I figured, you know what, with the advent of technology, why not? Let's just put that out to the world and let's just see what people think. So hopefully people will chime in and check it out.
okay.
Yeah. And you know what? I just basically like with time management, I just file out a good portion of time and then I just figure out when I'm gonna do it each weekend. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
figure
And
it out.
no social life. What do you?
No, I mean, like I really didn't have much of a social life before. Like funny thing is, a lot of people think that like, oh yeah, Chamber 7, we always see you out in town. I'll be like, where? And then when the pandemic hit, everybody's like, oh, how you dealing with this? And I was like, dealing with what? This regular life for me, bro. I've been an introvert all my life, cuz I've been practicing for this all my life. What you mean? So between like playing video games or reading a book or hanging out at the crib, I have some friends that come by to see me and I'll go see them. And I keep a small circle of people that I go see, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, like this is normal for me. As long, hey, I got YouTube, I got Netflix, I got stuff I can watch. I'm good. Mhm.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
and then where I live, the liquor stores across the street, the Publix is right around the corner. I got me a Target, I got Walmart. Yo, I run up in there with my mask on, go get my stuff. I'm back at the crib. What? Forget about it. You hear me? I'm good. Good.
okay. Just just double checking. So silly. All right. Well, I would like to thank you for allowing me to do a how I met on you. Um,
Absolutely.
you'll see what I said about you when you see the whole video. So
Okay.
okay.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show. I'm always thankful for the questions and so on. The questions are always a challenge to me. That's why I was like, no, if you got questions, just go ahead and ask them because it always challenges me to be like, I like the questions on the fly because then I have to do a whole lot of thought process. I know what I want to say, so say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so thank you. And I'd like to say thank you for everybody who's watching this episode of Him, How I Met, Chamber 7, or Shawn T. Singletary. Thank y'all for watching.